What's up, everybody? Back for another Honkai Star Rail video. In this video, we're going to talk about something completely new. It's just speculation based off a few things, but could be pretty exciting for the future of Honkai Star Rail. So, as we know, the current banner format is pretty much new unit rerun, with the exception of the Rappa patch, where the second half of Rappa's patch was 2 reruns in Akron Adventuring. Now, this is no new feat for Hoyoverse, as Genshin has this quite a bit, right? So something new crazy. Genshin also does have a Chronicle banner, I believe it's called, where there's like a bunch of 5 stars on it that are different from the standard. So you could go ahead and, for example, for us, go ahead and try to summon on, let's say, Robin, and then you lose 50-50 and you pull Jing Yun, right? Which would probably be a bit more exciting than losing 50-50 and pulling your 50th Jeopard like me. But that's a whole different topic, right? We haven't gotten that, unfortunately. I do think that we should potentially get that, but it's up to them to obviously give it to us, right? But currently, this is how the banners are. New unit, rerun, and we call it a day, right? Now, the reason I am bringing this up is because a different Hoyo game, ZZZ, has actually switched up how they did it. Now, when Dr. Ratio dropped, even though Dr. Ratio was a free unit, we still had to wait till his banner came out in the second half, right? Now, ZZZ is dropping their own free unit, the guy on the right here, and they're also dropping Mayabi, who I believe is probably going to be their hype character. I'm pretty much seeing a lot of people talk about her, and she definitely looks like the cool, like, Acheron, Raiden Shogun type character, right? But the interesting thing here is when they drop the banners. It says after version 1.4 on December 18th. Then you go over to his banner, and it says after version 1.4 update on 12/18. This means that both their banners drop at the same time. And let me show you, they have different 4 stars on it. So, originally, I was like, okay, maybe they dropped him at the same time because he's free, and maybe Mayabi's gonna just carry the whole update, right? Because he's hype. But they have 2 different banners. It's not like a banner in Star Rail, right? Where if we cut over to this, Sunday and Jingyun have the same 4 stars on their banner and same light cones on their light cone banners. This is just straight up just 2 different banners at the same time. Now, my question is, if they're going to do this going forward, are they always going to have different 4 stars? What happens when they start doing reruns? Not too sure. That's up to the ZZZ group to figure that out. But the reason I am curious to see if this is coming to Star Rail, and I actually think it is because in 3.0 we will be going to Morpheus, right? Now, the character currently set to drop as the first banner is Herda. Now, it makes a lot more sense to drop Angelia first because we're probably going to meet her in the story. I don't think she's going to be like a Ting Yun where she guides us around, but she's probably going to be in the story, and it would make sense to drop a character from the new world for the story, and then in part 2 they can drop the Herda and call it a day, right? So I do think that they potentially might drop both of them at the same time. Now, unfortunately for me, that's going to be an L because now I have to worry about funding and getting enough summons for 2 characters at once and potentially 2 light cones as well. Being able to save a little bit and then worry about like spending more once I get paid was kind of nice. Overall, though, besides me and probably a few other like CCs, this is a W change. If they drop the characters for the whole patch, just like these guys right here, because they end when 1.5 drops, right? So pretty much the end of the patch. You have the entire time to summon for the new 5-star, and you don't have to be like, oh, well, I really want Herda, and I would summon for Herda if it wasn't for the fact that right after is Angela, right? You could pull Angela, and then you're like, okay, now I can summon on Herda, when before, Herda would already be gone, or another thing is, you don't have to wait for that character at all. You're like, oh, you know, I really want to summon on phase 2. This sucks. I have to wait. Phase 2 is already out. And then another big thing is if you originally were summoning for the Herda, right, and you just ran out of currency, or you didn't get paid, or whatever it may be, and then phase 2 started and you're screwed, right? Now it's the entire patch, so you have even more time to summon on whoever phase 1 would have been, and all the other stuff I said before. So overall, it would be a huge W. Now, obviously, we'd have to see if ZZ is just doing this because his character is free, and Mayabi's like so hyped that she can just carry the entire update. Not too sure. if that's how they're going to go about it. But this is pretty exciting stuff. We'll see when Mavwika drops on Genshin if they are going to opt into this type of banner, because that banner should be out before we get into 3.0 for Star Rail. I believe Chaska's banner is done in a couple days, so it's roughly like 22-ish days. So Sunday's banner currently has 18. Yeah, we'll be just probably like a week into Tingyun-ish when the Malvika banner drops. And if they decide to do the same thing with Malvika and I believe her name's Lolly, right? At the same time, then it'll pretty much just be like, all right, straight up, but that's just how Hoyo is doing banners now, and we have to prep for Herta and Angela at the same time, which would be kind of crazy, but I'm here for it. I do think it is a W change if they do go along with it for all Hoyo games, right? Now, obviously, let me know what you guys think in the comments as well. It might just be my opinion that I like it, but a lot of people could be like, oh, it sucks, I hate it, right? Now, how I think they would go about rerun banners, because like I said, ZZZ doesn't have reruns yet, is pretty much they would do like maybe like halfway, right? So like, let's just say this is the new patch, these are the 2 new characters, right? Then once we get done with 18 days 3 hours, it'll refresh, and instead of these 2 leaving, we would have banners down here, and it would have like, I don't know, let's say Akron and Venturian, right? And then they'd be out for the rest of the patch probably. That would mean you have less time to get the rerun characters, but you would still have them for the amount of time where it would be like a normal update, right? Pretty much the same amount of time that you would have just something for Jingyan right now, you'd probably still have. I would assume it would be halfway for reruns, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I will say it would be a big W update, but that's pretty much it. I just want to bring this to people's attention, because this could completely change how you save for characters. You know, pre-grinding, you'd have to pre-grind for 2 characters at once. You'd have the whole entire patch, so it really only would take maybe like 1 or 2 updates to really get used to it, and then we'd kind of be, you know, roaring to go. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much going to be it. I pretty much got everything I wanted to talk about. I'm still very curious if we're going to keep the 4 stars. I hope that the 4 stars are actually different, because it would suck. I know Wuthering Waves has this issue where the new 4 stars on the second half with the rerun character, it's like, okay, well, if you summon for the character already and you don't want dupes, you're kind of throwing by trying to summon for the 4-star character and potentially getting the 5-star. I wouldn't say throwing, but you're at a bad disadvantage. So I'm really hoping that, like how ZZZ is doing it, where the banners are 2 different banners even though they're out at the same time, that maybe, you know, for example in Star Rail, if Sunday was the first banner, quote unquote, and then Akron was the first banner, they would share the same 4 stars, and then, you know, let's say Jingyan's new, Jingyan would have the same 4 stars as like Adventuring, who was like the second quote unquote rerun of the second half. I feel like that would be a bit better, hopefully. I wouldn't have passed them to just not do that and just have the 4 stars be the same for the new units, and then the reruns have 3 other 4 stars on it. But we'll have to see. Very exciting stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.